I can do that.
All right, ladies, I am good to go. Or if you get started at your convenience.
Perfect. All right, so welcome to Visti. I'm so excited. This is my first session. I didn't make it to one of the earlier ones. I am Valerie Foley.
I'm Dara Stewart.
And we'll get in. I have another slide for introduction, but I do have a little interactive activity for you guys. So if you would grab a bingo card, as we go through this presentation, if you click that link, it'll create a digital bingo card that you can just click and it'll add a little X. I want you to think about the ideas that we're presenting on computer science. And if you can use that idea, it's something that you can scale up and down. If you realize, hey, I'm already teaching decomposition in my classroom, you can check off the word decomposition or whatever it is. So there's 30 cards there, which I think are good. If you are at home and you want to play along, that is fine, but only the in-person people can get an actual prize for bingo. So I'm going to make you multitask because that's kind of what we do as teachers anyway. So if you can keep that tab open, we'll have a little fun as we go through.
The Bit.ly link at the end.
bit.ly/Visti relax. And then slide 2 is where you can get a bingo card. I just like to play games as we go.
Be confused with the calming room. I love it.
Good. All right, like we said, I'm Valerie Foley. There's my information. There's Dara's also. I have been in education 15 years. I taught second grade. I moved into the tech lab and then I became an ITRC, which every division has a different acronym, but at ITC, ITRT, whatever. I've done that for 8 years now. In my spare time, I am a facilitator with Code VA. So some of these ideas are theirs, some of them are mine, meshed together.
And I am Dara. I am in my 7th year of education. I've taught 4th, 5th, and 8th grade. And now I'm an ITRC as well.
All right, so hopefully this will pop up for you guys. Oh, you know what? I didn't start the peer deck. Now it will. I just want to see what you guys are, your role and
How you feeling about it all?
oh, it's this thing. That's why my mouse is crazy. It's like a little gyroscopic mouse and clicker at once, and it was moving everywhere. Well, I am not that shaky.
Watch Gremlins over the weekend. It's just a gremlin.
Maybe. Okay, so I'm just curious. You guys can. We'll
Can you
skip
show
to
on
here
your
that-
fingers where you are?
Gotta use 2 hands if you're 6.
If you're
Uh,
if you're 1, you don't even know we have them, which is fine. 2, you're just like trying to get through this year. 3, I've looked over the SLs. 4, I've done a few lessons with CS. 5, I'm okay at integrating computer science standards. And 6, I'm the pro. Let me present. And it's okay if you are a 6.
It is not okay. I'm gonna bring somebody up here. No. Okay, we were just curious about where you guys are. I've been integrating computer science, I guess 8 years, since I left the classroom because I didn't think it really existed before I left the classroom. It can be hard doing both jobs there. So we just wanted to see what you guys were, how you feel. And so Virginia, if you're a 1 or a 2, Virginia has computer science standards. I know that's a shock to a lot of people at this now. And they are meant to be fully integrated in K-8. That means it's not to be outsourced to the gate teacher, to after school clubs. It's meant to be fully integrated. And so the reason this presentation came about is because a lot of teachers have trouble with that. That's hard.
It's a lot.
It's a lot to do. And so I was hoping this unplugged integration could help ease some of the burden. So I know some of you guys work with teachers, some of you are teachers, so hopefully you can use a little bit of both. And also just the benefit of computational thinking and the 4 C's. I think it's 5 C's now, but whatever. We'll move on. Having these skills that kids can solve problems and kids can break something down and, you know, see what's essential and what's non-essential. These skills are just so vital, and we teach them anyway. So we can integrate computer science and just be a little bit more intentional in how we teach it.
And to make it not like an extra step for teachers, because, you know, as this time is, you're like, not another thing. So this is part of your curriculum anyways.
And
just an activity step.
I love how COVID has made our teachers so much more tech savvy. However, putting something like an additional set of standards on them can also just cause them to shut down sometimes. So I've worked at 2 different elementary schools, 2 different middle schools, 2 different high schools, and they all have the same trouble. Like it is what it is. We know their day is limited. We know they're being pulled to sub. But again, this is from the DOE. It is to be integrated into your core classroom. So it's kind of something we can't get around. So Unplugged really speaks to me because of these things. You know, you can build equity with your students. You know that every kid doesn't have a device. Not every kid has a robot. But also you can start with baby steps, because as we go through, hopefully you'll see some things that you can just take back and use immediately, and some ideas that you can show teachers to use immediately. But also Unplug just really builds that conceptual understanding before the kids get distracted by Scratch and robots and all the cool tools of the trade. They can build their understanding of why it works through unplugged activities.
How many of you guys like kinesthetic learning in general though? Yeah, that's another thing I like about it too.
I'm gonna make you all get up, or at least some of you want to. Here in a little bit. See our lovely chart. Piece 1 was equity. Not every school has a tech teacher. Not every school has an ITRT. Not every school has a computer lab anymore. Not every school is 1-to-1, which in a mid-COVID world, that's hard to believe, but there are some schools that are still not 1-to-1. They just don't have the ability to do that. So Unplugged really beats that to the punch, because you don't need any of that. You can just use your paper and your tape and play and learn some computer science.
Don't worry about children forgetting their Chromebook or not having it charged.
Or we only have 3 robots because the other 3 have broken wheels. We get around all of those problems that a lot of our Title I schools maybe can't solve on their own. It also really, really, really takes the pressure off teachers. They don't feel like they have to know how to code to teach computer science if you can do it in this manner. So they're much less afraid to try something that's an unplugged lesson. And then maybe you'll build that capacity so that they can move into a plugged lesson. They'll start to feel more secure in themselves. It's just so much less intimidating when you can say, let's do a computer science activity, and this teacher across the hall, we know them, we love them. They're not going to touch technology unless they're forced. So you can show them ways that they don't even have to worry about that. It really takes the pressure off of them and you sometimes, because I know sometimes as an ITRC, the kids just see me as like the cool tool person because I show up and roll in and we do a really cool lesson, and then I roll out and they go back to whatever they were doing before. So it takes the pressure off of me, because sometimes we don't need to use technology to have fun. And then the conceptual understanding, you know, what really is an algorithm? How have these things changed over time? What are the reasons we need to worry about our digital footprint? All of these things can be taught unplugged and plugged and build this understanding. So if you do it unplugged, you don't have to worry about them losing focus because they're at a Chromebook or an iPad or a Bebot or whatever tool you have available to you. You can take all that away, strip it down to the bare essentials and teach. So I'm gonna get into the fun stuff, I promise. I kind of broke this into 2 different sections up here. So this one is like the broad ideas. These are things that you can apply across content areas, across grade levels. You can scale it up, you can scale it down, you can decide how you want to do this. It's easy to see the connections to your core content. And then we'll get into some more like granular, nitpicky. This one has to be a third grade SOL, and this is why. And then it also, again, hits on algorithmic thinking, decomposition, pattern recognition, all the computational thinking skills. I need to take a drink.
Jennifer, we get cool prizes for bingos, just remembering.
Anybody get some, you can have a bingo already?
For real?
What'd you mark off? Do you mind sharing?
All down the straight middle. I turned my computer off because of course, at a
Battery.
Tech conference, my battery is dying.
Right, feel free to plug in.
Yeah.
So we have some fidgets.
Yeah, so I have sorting, collaboration, free space, data, and cause and effect.
Nice. Oh, two.
Come get something.
And then I also stopped by and got some code VA stickers. Virginia's for computer science lovers. I know. I let my kids get their first pick of the fidget first. Before I brought them. Come on up. What do you mark off?
I've gone into hospital classrooms and done microbits and arcades, so there was like pattern, trial and error, and that all covered all.
Do we have anyone virtually who has them? Sorry, you don't have a prize, but like, shout out. Anyone virtually?
Nothing in the chat so far. We
You
had
get a pat
one-
on the back.
We had one person respond, that they were at 3 on the.
Oh, cool.
All right, so now we're gonna make you do this. This is a sorting network. It is not easy to replicate this digitally. I have tried and tried, and it's just very, very difficult. So I'm gonna make you get up and do it, if we have some volunteers. So first, up here in this corner, this links you to CS Unplugged, which is where that idea originated from. And I learned about this actually from Bert Jacoby, if he happens to be listening. He is an Albemarle County. And he made us do this at a training, and it has stuck with me. This is my number one favorite activity, computer science or non-computer science related. Has anybody done a sorting network? Seen it, Trish?
I got introduced to it because my husband's a tech guy and he showed me how he made a base 2 calculator. So it relates, it relates straight to computers that way too. It's really neat.
All right, so I'm gonna show you the digital representation to walk you through it, and then we will do it. If I can get 6 volunteers. Fortunately, I know at least 6 people.
We got arrows. Yeah, come on.
All right,
Oh, wait.
once it loads. Hardwired too. So what this is gonna do is you're gonna get a set of cards, and as a group of 6, you're gonna sort yourselves from beginning to end in numerical order, ABC order, timeline order, your choice. I'll let you guys choose the cards you wanna do. And a sorting network works like a computer would. It takes this big problem of 6 cards and breaks it down so that I'm only comparing it with one other person. So the 2 of us are going to decide which one is lesser, which one is greater, and which way to go.
Is it the algorithm? Story type?
Yeah. This slide above. Yep. Now click the actual picture. I'm
There it
sorry.
goes.
When it came out.
I do lots of it.
Got it
Oh,
right
there we
here?
go.
Perfect.
All right, so the bigger is gonna go to the right. Larger, I'm sorry, bigger to the right, lesser to the left. I have to use that, what's that called? Yeah. I have to use lesser to the left. Have to remember that. Bigger to the right. All right, so got one slide to load. Let's see if the other slide will load. Here's a numeric example. So 59 and 351 are going to compare themselves and decide lesser to the left, lesser to the left. Make the pictures load. And then each set of pairs is going to compare themselves when they get to an orange box, a green box, purple box, blue box, whatever. You'll see that some people get a fast pass. So once this number gets here, if it's the lesser and it's been compared 3 times, it's going to be the lesser number. And it can go all the way to the left. Oh, sorry, this one to the left. Once this one has been decided that that's definitely the biggest, it can take a fast pass through the arrow all the way to the finish line. It'll start working itself out.
This is really good for definitely lower elementary, and when you're talking about comparing numbers or fractions even.
I was just thinking fifth grade.
Yeah.
Yep.
Basketballs.
I have to say, I know this is being recorded, but the only group of people that have never been able to like conquer this is a kindergarten team of teachers. They were the only ones that just could not get it. Their kids got it. The teachers just, they did not want to compare in the rectangles. They just wanted to see and look around, you know, they were trying to cheat the system and go straight to the finish line. So you have to be in a rectangle to compare.
Now, I have mine up.
Yeah, do you wanna share?
If you
I'm sorry.
probably want to share.
Yes, please. Sorry, guys. Anticipation. So I have a math example, I have two math examples. I've got a literature, science,
We're gonna go to number 3.
a couple history examples.
Yeah, number 3. Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yes, please. 3. Yep. Okay, finally. So 59, 351 are going to step into the orange box and compare themselves. 95, 268 will step into their orange box and compare. My colors don't match because I didn't plan that far ahead. You just follow your arrows. And then they're going to work their way all the way to the end. I don't think- do I have remote access to yours?
No, if you want to take over. There you go.
So in the one with 192 and 27, which one would go to the left? 27. So if I was walking, 27 would go this way. And then I'd look, which one is between 27 and then I guess 95 would be it.
I need to sit down and do it properly instead
You
of
use my
sideways.
computer as much
But
as
what you would
can.
do is you'd have that number and walk it through together, like what you're doing up there, here. You'd be like, okay. And then 27 is the lowest number, so then I end up with my 27 all the way up here. All the way to the left is
You
the
make a
smallest
copy-
number.
You
is
can
to
make
the
a
left.
copy, and do it from the copy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You do make copy.
Yes.
Good job.
Sorry, he had view only access. That's why I couldn't move it. I think we got it, right?
I think.
We're functioning adults. We can get to it. All right, 6 volunteers, come on up. I don't think you come on up. We can do it multiple times because this is my number one favorite thing to do. And you're gonna start down where Dara is on the white square. 3 more. 3 more. Yep, pick a white square. I'm sorry.
Yes, you are.
Set up for this room.
Let's see how they do.
I was like, my watch better count that as a
One more.
workout.
One more.
Thank you.
Thanks. All right, do you guys want math, science, history? We'll start easy. All right, so we could do just plain numbers and we'll see their number sense. I'm gonna give them multiplication facts. I'm not trying to trip. I got you.
I got you. We want to do science second.
Yeah.
We decided that.
No worries.
Science. Yes.
Okay,
Okay, okay.
everybody know their facts. All right, as you guys get to the yellow, watch out for the words. All right, whoa.
Oh, sorry. Oh.
Teachers. Step forward to your rectangle. Compare with your partner. Follow your arrow.
Less
Less to the left. Alliteration.
Oh, yes, it's fine. They're props. They're all.
So now compare with your new partner.
Lesser to the left.
Oh, sorry.
Fast track.
I'm 18. Wait, did I vote? Oh, she got the fast pass. Oh, she got the fast pass, good, because she's under the screen.
18, 24, so I go to the right.
All right, so you now check your numbers.
That was cool.
What's your sum? I'm trying to say your product. 12.
15, 18, 24.
All right. You did it.
Good job.
Thank you, guys. Take your card. Do you want to do other people want to come up? Anybody want to swap positions?
Well, how many do we have?
They don't need
Oh,
I
us.
kind of want to do the science. I don't want to be.
The guys are
I know Trish wants to do science too.
All right.
Do you want to do science one? I did have to give a star on this one.
I don't know about science.
Because science is a process, this is a process, so there's really no beginning and no end, it's a cycle. So I did have to give a little hint, so somebody does have the definite beginning, but don't let that
Oh, okay.
fool you.
Gotcha.
If you want to, come on up.
Oh my
All right, so this is the water cycle.
You're gonna make me
Come on
go
out.
I got y'all.
Anybody else?
We got another.
So basically, it's if one comes before the other, it doesn't.
Yes,
have to
so
be-
the
Oh,
earlier,
exciting.
earlier to the
Yeah.
left.
Star.
Your science?
So I'm
Oh,
gonna ask
I don't know if this one's gonna work actually, now that I think about it. All right, so who has the star?
Like after
Third grade
evaporation.
science in the water cycle.
Wait a minute, wait a minute.
You said
Who
the
has,
star.
who has the star?
Jess has the star.
Jess, read your card.
Sun heats up the earth and water.
That's the beginning of this cycle. That's what I determined the beginning is. So now think about it. Does yours come?
For you.
Look at your two people at your sides.
We're gonna go that way.
Which one's gonna come first?
Well,
Sun heats up.
Start here, okay.
So I'm first.
So the one that comes last goes to the left, right? Where's the first one?
Earlier to the left.
Earlier to the left.
Less early.
But you come here.
Okay, I'm
There's
jumping
your arrow.
the screen again.
That's what I'm a little nervous about.
So I'm before you. If I ask you, that'd be before that.
I think one of the biggest
Let's
things
go that
is
way.
like that failure piece of like
Okay.
letting us.
That's your turn. I'll go here.
So you come
Oh,
first, you have
perfect.
to gas
That's
it,
right, right.
So I'm
You
gonna
there.
stay there.
Again.
again, and I come here.
That's all good.
It's your left.
Yeah.
There's no way I could have planned that.
Water, and then you
Yep,
gotta have
because
a
you
cloud.
passed,
You gotta
three
have a cloud
times,
before
so
the cloud
then
gets
you're-
heavy.
All right, let's see.
You start us off?
All right, sun heats up the earth and water.
Water evaporates.
Water condenses into clouds.
Clouds get heavy.
Precipitation falls.
Precipitation gathers in puddles, lake
Woohoo!
stations, etc.
Oh my.
Yay, you guys are awesome.
Steal these
How many of you
cards.
guys have
Right?
principals who wanted
Is
us
all
to
of
talk
this
in
in
the
the
classroom? Like
presentation?
Are all of these like
No,
pre-made
like
documents?
I have started it. I have not
Okay.
gotten all the way through it. Isn't Adam in there by like
Everything we
tomorrow?
have is just.
Those are cool.
All right, what do you think, sorting network?
Oh,
You
cool.
think?
It's fun.
Super
The kids
cool.
will have a hard time at first, but.
The kids will have a hard time at first. I was with a group of adults and we were given, this is where Bert tried to trick us. So we did them, like, we did these, no problem, yeah. Then he gave us cards where it was, the amendments to the
Oh,
Constitution.
gosh.
But it didn't have the number, of course.
No.
It was women get the right to vote, prohibition, you know, all those things. That was hard. We restarted and we would get to the end and just say, nope, back to the beginning. And that's okay. Like Bear said, you know, the failure is part of learning. You don't get better without a little bit of failure happening to you.
We're gonna do bingo check. We got bingo.
People-
Diagonally from top left.
All
People
right,
at
just
home,
tell
is
us
that-
what it is. What's that? What are some of the things?
Oh.
Data process, free space, collaboration and analysis.
Nice, come on up. Anybody at home?
Yeah.
Do you have any bingo people at home?
Thank you. It still hasn't loaded. All that
Oh my
time.
God.
Oh, well. So I did start, somebody asked if I had these listed. I started like printable sheet cards. I should give everybody edit access. I should make that public, so you guys can start adding your own in it. And I did have to make a couple cheat sheets. If you all had chosen the American presidents, I had to know who it was. And also, I did one with the moon cycle, phases of the moon.
I was thinking
Again.
that and rock cycle both.
Yes.
You'd have to put asterisks on the rock.
Yes.
cycle, too, for-
And
Yes.
same with the
I'd start
moon
with
cycle.
magma. I'm
Me
just saying,
too.
I'd start with magma.
I'm a magma friend.
So I started with new moon, and then I never taught third grade, so I don't really know them that well.
And for some of the upper grades, like you can do events like timeline for history, like what came first. I know like civics.
Jamestown
That's-
stuff.
that's what I
Yeah.
told them.
Civics, I would do like how a bill, like the process of a bill going through, and things like that.
There's Jamestown. Women arrive in Jamestown. Jamestown settled, Revolutionary War, Treaty of Paris, Virginia history. It can be used anywhere. That's what I call it, like the broad idea. Just love it. There are some schools, there's a school in Stanton that painted this on their blacktop. They painted the sorting network so
That
that they
is
always had it
so-
available. And you don't have to put out stupid tape every time you want to do it.
All right, I'm writing that.
I really wanted to do like shower curtains or something, but presenting on the first day, I didn't want to roll it up and like keep it somewhere, so. Now just,
Yes, like,
That's what
right?
that word,
And you
yeah.
would need like 4 shower curtains or something.
It would be really massive.
Yeah, yeah. And honestly, I didn't even know if it would work because I didn't know what room I was in or what the room would look like. So we made it work. It's a little squished. Next are algorithm charts. Tuesday, Thea Clark from Frederick. I always have to think she's Frederick or Winchester. Thea Clark is presenting on digital citizenship through literature, or I think it's computer science through literature. There are lots of books out there now that teach kids computer science. I'm a very elementary minded person, so a lot of them are geared for my age group. I work with K-12, but my background is elementary. So these are algorithm charts that can retell events in a sequential way. And it's just a grid, and you just scatter around a couple activities. Kids can build these. So a couple plot points from the story. I made one with an elephant and piggy. There's a bird on your head, what was the process? First the bird landed, then the bird built a nest, then hopefully you all can see it. But they draw the arrows.
And spell the code.
Yeah, they draw the arrows so that they get from the beginning to the end. If you think that's starting to get too easy after you do a couple, you could make it so they can't cross back over their other lines of code. They can make it as simple as possible.
Yeah, the fewest.
Yes, yep. Use lines of codes, try to reduce line of code.
so I did something like this also with, because I taught Virginia studies. And so the regions, and you got the coastal plains with all the rivers. So it's a sheet with blocks like this, and the kids got to cut out, kind of like scratch, like start when you clap, start when you snap, whatever. And then they had to put the products and industries around it like a game board. And then it had everything labeled already on it. And then they had to take their car and drive around. And they could go from each peninsula, they had to go across the bridge. So then it's the same idea where they had to kind of go this many spaces, then turn right, then go this many spaces. And then they had to collect the products and industries as I can as they went through it. It's very similar.
A great way to assess, if they know the sequence of the story, the steps in a process, the regions of Virginia. They can also like a game board, so they can trade them and see if other people can follow their directions, turn right, move forward 2 spots. Mhm. Data representation is another broad. You can use this from kindergarten to whatever. How can the kids represent the data that they've collected? That's an SOL from kindergarten 1. They have to start collecting data, not just using it. And then not only that, but I think around 3rd grade, it jumps into, you have to really analyze it and consider, okay, we can chart the weather. How do we think that's going to impact the crops in our area? I'm in a very rural area, so how's that going to impact the crops over the next 3 months? They can make some predictions there so that they're using it in a real life scenario. And maybe if they're studying Mali, they could learn the culture of the climate of Mali, and try to analyze how did that impact how they had to adapt to their climate. Taking it, making it a little bit deeper, a little more cross-curricular, a little more analysis behind it.
Something I saw that one of our school teachers did is she took them out to the parking lot with chalk, and she used the empty parking spaces as straight lines. And I was like, that was genius.
That's so easy.
She did for fractions, she did timelines, like all that. So if that's something that you don't have to do the prep work, the
Yeah.
lines are already there. So
Impacts of computing. This is an CSSOL in all grade levels. How are we measuring our usage of computers? How are computers impacting our lives? How have they changed our transportation, our communication, our food storage, all these things.
a lot of times, like those younger grades, you have that trying to figure out what's past, present, and future. And that's what helped with that and integrating CS code.
So these PDFs are actually clickable links. It's probably not going to load for me, but that's okay. So for each storybook, this was a project I did a couple years ago. So I need to update it and make it add some more books to my bookshelf. But for each book that you click, you'll get a synopsis of it. You'll get some ideas for using it, some questions that you could ask your kids after you read it. And then the playlist, this is where I really need to update my playlist. Some of those videos have been removed from YouTube since I created it. So I tried to find a read aloud for each of those books, but they don't all exist anymore. So I need to really work on that one, but I just wanted to share it. I broke it down into K2, 3, 5. Use your judgment. You know, there's always a 3, 5 book that you can use in first grade, depending on how you adapt it. But one I have is Chicken Clickin'. I like that one with my kindergarten first graders. It's so much fun. And then, oh, but I read it on the internet. I did that one with third graders. Everything you read on the internet is true and factual, and books can't teach you anything. So there's 2 kids. One is a true book nerd and one is a true, I'm going to Google it and find out. And they have some problems there.
And I know in those English SOLs, elementary and middle, there's definitely that figure out what's fact and opinion, and also the research piece.
All right, so then targeting the rest. This is where we're going to kind of spend some of our time. Again, I'm going to make you guys do a little something. You know, sometimes there are standards that just aren't as easy to integrate as others. You really have to intentionally target them and be specific about it. So if you can try to match the underlying concept, you know, what is it that the CS standard really wants them to do? What is it that my core content really wants them to do? And how can I build an activity to match? I think most teachers do, but start with the end in sight, you know, backwards design, start with your assessment, and then just take baby steps. You know, maybe next week you can get a teacher to integrate one unplugged activity, and that's a win. Maybe next week we'll be able to get this drawn somewhere in our building and we can keep it. That's a win. Start little steps as you go. So some of the resources. I should have opened all these links in advance. I'm realizing now. So there's the integration alignment document from the VDOE. They went through, somebody at the VDOE went through and tried to align every computer science standard to various core content. So sometimes it's a math standard, sometimes it's a math language, science, and history standard. Sometimes there's no standard. You'll notice sometimes it skips, like I think it skips K.8. It just goes from K7 to K9 because they couldn't find a good alignment for K8. And then this is something I did with my teachers. I took the VDOE alignment guide and then I added a column where they had to actually tell me, what is this connection? You know, what are you, if it says that it's science 1.3 and that's a process, how is that going to, what process are you going to use? You know, be a little more specific and intentional. Where could you actually see that fitting in? So if you want to use that with staff, I really want, you know, it's one thing to say it fits with 1.3. Well, I'm not the expert in your core content standards. I don't know them. You need to, you know, let me know, how is it actually going to fit? And then from Code VA, this is a CS integrated template. I'll let you all click on that. And what I like about this is just that it's so simple. Here's the core content. I have this idea. Here's how I can integrate CS. And it's just a simple little place to jot down your notes and find those connections. So some like specific examples. Writing is the iterative design process. You go back, you revise, you debug, you fix your errors. You find ways to make it more creative, more elaborate. You also are teaching sequencing, patterns. We talk about patterns in everything, word patterns, math patterns, science patterns. Fact fluency can kind of go back to like input output. You know, there's old machines we used to make.
Well, they're still a thing. They still do it.
And then I thought there's like a literature example because the sneeches, they go into the input machine and they get a star in their belly and then they come out. Just a little simple. Coordinate planes, you can build grid programming, plugged or unplugged. Shapes, the kids always have to do so many skills with shapes. They can do patterns, they can do sorting, they can do anything with those. Circuitry, when you get up to like 3rd, 4th grade, a network is a local or a series A global would be the parallel network, goes out a little bit larger. And then debugging when the circuits don't work, what happened?
I'm gonna pause real quick.
Yeah.
Bingo.
Think I
Thank
got
you.
it.
All right, what you got?
Sequence, communication, free space sorting, and she just said debug.
What you got?
Communication, process, free space, debug, and algorithm.
You can come up and grab it now if you want or after. It's up to you.
Come on.
Go for it. All right, go ahead. I just want
Good. No, thank you. I just keep rolling.
Yep.
Some other examples that I, while I was thinking about ways you can do an unplugged lesson that is both core content and computer science, ecosystems, food webs, kind of like the sorting network. We see how things network across different ways. They have to build models and sort things by their attributes and behaviors. Research and communication, global outreach. Life cycles, we kind of went through some of those. It's an algorithm,
This
they
is
show
really-
loops.
yeah.
If then and cause and effect, which I've done with Ozobots, they're so much fun. I don't tell the kids what the codes are for the Ozobots, and I just let them figure it out and say, if green, red, green, and I forget what that is, then here's what my robot did.
And you can do a lot of this with your, not just cause and effect, but like your problem and solution when you're doing stories and honestly, just trying to get them to overcome something in general.
And so they were writing, they were learning how to write if-then statements. And so we did it with conditional format or conditional programming. All right, so last few minutes. I feel like I talk really fast when I start doing these. I'm gonna have you click on that link, and I don't know what slide number that is, sorry, 20. It is a Jamboard, and it goes through the VDOE integration alignment guide. But I also had to put some of the standards just separate because the VDOE didn't have an integration opportunity there. So that's kind of the challenge is, can you find an integration alignment? So slide 1 in the Jamboard is kindergarten algorithms and programming. So if you work with kindergartners a lot, you might want to pick that one. Slide 2 is also kindergarten, but it's kind of a smattering. It might be cybersecurity, it might be data. I don't remember off the top of my head. And then slide 3 and 4 are first grade, 5 and 6, second grade and 1. So if you can just add some notes, because I thought that would be a really, really useful tool as we go back to our schools. I'm always the person who says the smartest person in the room is the room, because we all have these different ideas that we can throw together. So
And that way you take a lot more home with you.
exactly. And as we think about it in a week, maybe we can add something else. So if you can go to the Jamboard and just add some of your thoughts, what are some, like I asked my teachers, what are the actual specific lessons that are going to tie 1.3 science to this computer science standard? Can you add in some of these specifics?
It's not like us today.
Yeah, it's okay. You guys have it, right? Oh, somehow,
Did you want me to share?
yes, you could. I'm sorry. I keep forgetting that I'm sharing.
I can,
Have that ability also.
I can kind of override.
And then anything else, if you guys want to do another sorting network, you want to do the Virginia studies, presidents. Oh, I don't know what happened. I had an ABC order with animals. Oh, well, they're lost. No, I think they're just gonna pick whichever grade level they align themselves with most. Yes, that's why I thought since this was a virtual hybrid presentation, we can get everybody involved. And I hate to say it, but if you really like Jamboard, there's a presentation right now, but you can probably snag the resources from Denise Orndorff on Jamboard in the classroom. We can probably start pulling tape too. This will be the easy part. It is. Thank you. Put it down. Any thoughts? Anybody have any? You guys can share with me because I know I am not. I'm not the ultimate expert on anything.
About 3 more minutes. What did you do? One more minute. Does anyone play Spotify in your classroom? Did you get your year in review for Spotify?
Mine's all my daughter. That's all her music.
I was like, that is a lot of minutes.
I love the history example. I think a lot of times people put computer science strictly with math and science. And I mean, there's a ton of history and English examples we could go into also. Yeah. Contributions. We, this isn't really computer science, but we had students build a historical figure in Tinkercad. And the winner got to actually print theirs on the 3D printer. That's kind of cool. Very good. And then any. Yeah, binary.
Oh yeah, I like the bracelets. Yeah. Also, the binary bracelet name thing is a great idea for like right before a break. Like your kids or SOLs are done.
Yep.
Yeah.
Of course, this week is Hour of Code,
Yes.
which you can always save for that last week in December when you need a little extra.
Yep.
There's a Grinch, there's Anna and Elsa.
Mhm. I work in early childhood and then it's like getting of that fine motor skill of reading and
Yes.
writing and understanding that I can identify the letters in my name, but just adding that. We're not gonna say this is binary.
Right.
code,
No,
but
no, no.
just giving them that experience of it.
Very cool. If you could go to the slides, we're about done, so if you don't mind just continuing for a minute. So anything else to shout out? I do have some additional resources on anything you want to share about the process. ahead. Tons of resources. Oh, one thing I forgot, a couple of these ideas, especially the algorithm chart, came from Jay Daniel's mom, and she's got several blogs. She like homeschools her kid and does a lot of computer science. I've gotten a lot of activity ideas from her blog, Jay Daniel 4 or something like that, but it's linked in there. And then our contact information, should you need us, we're here.
Thank you guys for coming.
Anybody else get a bingo? You wanna come claim a prize before we pass them up? Oh, yes. Slide 2 had a link to,
Oh, yeah, and so, yeah, I just got the second.
yeah, sorry.
So,